Hello YouTube. Today we're going to be doing a different kind of video. I know I haven't posted in a while. It's because my mom fell, broke her ankle in 3 spots. She had to get this plate and 10 screws put in, so I've been taking care of her for a while. Thoughts and prayers are with her. Pretty much appreciated. Today is going to be a little bit different from the new reaction content I'm doing. It's a place where I advise you not to get employed. Where I live in backwater Northwest PA, it's pretty much the only place that pays very decently. Like 14 an hour is what I was making. And that hellhole was Walmart. But you're like, Brainy time, why don't you want us to work at Walmart? But granted, not all Walmarts are bad. Not all Walmarts are bad. It's just the management at the Walmart I worked at was awful. For the sake of being anonymous, and to prevent myself from getting future retaliation from this individual, and to prevent any hate going towards this individual, I will not be using their real name. I will be using a name, placeholder name. We'll just call him Fred. Yeah, Fred. I applied to Walmart in January of 2023. It was my second job after my first job. We got laid off because of COVID-19. I took the last 3 years from 2020 to 2023. Basically, like, I don't want to risk getting COVID. I've had COVID before. It sucks real bad. I don't want to risk getting sick and bringing it home to infect my family and prevent them from getting very deathly sick or even worse. It's what killed my grandma. My grandma died from COVID. She caught it 3 times, and that's what did it. I miss her so much. Anyway, I decided to take a break because I didn't want to get sick and all that blah blah blah. So I applied to Walmart, and my interview, Fred is the one who interviewed me. I told him what my goals were, what I was going to be working there for. I applied to be a cart pusher or cart associate. They also hired me to do doors sometimes. And any of the door people called off or they had too many cart people outside, they would have assigned me to doors, and that was fine. I told Fred that I suffer from autism. I told Fred that, like, whenever I get really angry, I like to be left alone, be by my own, to calm down. He said, okay, I'll put note of that as your special conditions. For the first few months, I only worked there 6 months. I have no doubt that he was involved at the end. I have no... Here. For the first few, like 3 or 4 months, nothing bad. There were some minor squabbles here and there between me and Fred, but other than that, it was fine. One day, I was supposed to be on doors from 2 to 11 p.m. I don't know how this happened, or something scheduling issue or what. Fred wanted me to go out to the lot, but I politely said, what? Okay. I politely told him, okay, I understand that you want me to go out to the lot, but I'm supposed to be on doors until 11 o'clock. And I was the only one on the doors from like 8 until 11, if I remember correctly. He pulled me in to the asset protection office, and he decided to berate me for arguing with the supervisor. The scheduling on my app that I use to work said I was supposed to be on doors my entire shift, which I was planning to do. Then he comes up all stuck in his own ego and told me, get your vest on. Oh, my mic. He told me to get your vest on and go outside. There are already 3 other card associates out there, and not much to do, basically. And I politely reminded him, hey, this is what I basically said. Brian, I understand that that you want me to go out to the lot, but I'm trying to put this as politely as I can. But I'm supposed to be on doors all day. That's what it says in my schedule. And when I first got hired there, the human resources guy, we'll call him Bill. Bill said, what you're assigned and scheduled to do is what you're supposed to do. And he's pretty much on par with the store manager in terms of management. And he has higher authority than this Fred. So I was basically following his directions. One of these days, we were so busy, we're supposed to use straps you were allowed to take 5 carts at a time without a strap. But for 10 carts, you needed a black strap. And if you're using the cart mule, which is the cart manager, you're supposed to use the red strap that comes with it. Well, some days it got so busy that it would actively hurt our performance to take the time. And if there were knots in it, Fred would tell us, get the knots untangled. Use them all the time. But here's the thing, if there were so many knots in it, it would take us 5-10 minutes to untangle it, and it would hinder our performance, and then he would get all on us like, oh, why aren't there any more carts in the cart bay? They need to be filled, blah, 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 blah. We're like, okay. And then one day I was on doors. And the other store coach, not him, not Fred, we'll just call her Sally. Sally comes up to me and says, hey, do you have a minute? I said, sure, I have a lot of time. I was nice about it. They took me back to the manager's office. And she told me, we're going to have to let you go. I'm like, why do you want to let me go? I've been doing a good job. I've hardly had any issues with anybody. I've been doing my job extremely well and dependable. She brought up the straps thing. I'm like, straps? I politely told her, and what me and the other cart associates were going through, like, if there were so many tangles there, it would take a lot of time, and if they were very tight, like knots, it would take us quite a while to untie them, and it would hinder our performance. And here's the thing. Other Walmarts, when I went there as a customer, none of the cart associates use straps. It's always this Walmart. This Fred always enforces it so strictly. And there's a lot more to Fred, too, that will make your blood boil. But I'm going to get that in a little bit. So she politely asked me to get my green vest, get my indoor vest, and my name badge and everything, and she walked me out the door. When I got into the car, I just started crying. Like, what did I do wrong? I did everything you asked me for. It's just, what did I do wrong? And I have no doubt that Fred was behind my firing. And I'm not the only one he's done this to. Fred is basically the biggest jerk I've ever met, ever had the chance to meet. He was rude not only to me, but to other cart associates. Half of our cart associates quit because of him and what he was doing to them. He was rude to customers. My grandma went there, not the one that died. My grandma went there to get a new microwave because we needed a new microwave. She saw Fred walking around, and since he was higher authority and an employee, she asked him for help. She, she politely asked him to show her where the microwaves were because she needed one that bad. He said in a foul tone, "Go find it yourself." Then he just turned around and stormed off. And my grandma was pissed at him. And I'm like, yep, that's typical Fred stuff. He does the same thing to us whenever we have issues as well. My mom and dad work overnight stockings at Walmart too, so they hear plenty of things of what Fred has been doing up to the during the day. And a couple of my dad's coworkers came up to him and said, "I've been hearing stuff about your son, what Brian's been saying about him." And my dad's like, "Okay, what is he saying?" And they overheard him saying, "I don't care if he has autism or not. He needs to get his ass fired. He needs to get out of here. I don't care about his condition. I don't care if anyone has autism. I'm going to be strict with them no matter what, punish them no matter what. And he needs to get fired. He's done multiple things that made me mad. He needs to be fired." But I don't remember doing anything to make him mad. And here's the darker part of Fred. From a few of the friends I worked there with, I'm still friends with them now, some of the cashiers and everything, is that Fred would ask, and I've witnessed this a couple times as well, Fred would ask some of the underage cashiers if they wanted to go to lunch with him. And that immediately threw red flags in my mind. And I later found out that Fred's brother is a registered offender. And I'm like, why have someone whose brother is a registered offender and is displaying the same red flags as that said brother work at Walmart, where there's plenty of underage employees? And he's the head coach, or the head coach in the store. And he's been fired from 2 other jobs because of harassment and how he's been treating other employees and customers as well. I don't know. Fred is still working at Walmart today. I don't know how he's not fired. I just don't know. And when he was working at the one job, he married someone that was literally 20 years younger than him. And she was 19. So he was almost 40 when he married her. And yeah. I'm just saying, not all Walmarts are bad. Some Walmarts, I've heard the management there was awesome. They treat everyone like family and treat everyone with respect and care. I even called the store manager after I was let go and explained to her the whole situation. Like, listen, I was doing everything that you were asking me to do. I was doing my job exceptionally well. And she said, that's how it goes. Just, there's no luck. We can't reverse your termination. It's not a false termination. Let me get down. That was my one cat. When I got fired, I thought it must be a false termination because I don't think I did anything wrong. And I told my dad, my mom, and my grandma the same thing, and they all agree that that was probably a false termination. And here's the thing, and I don't think this was a coincidence either. I got fired 6 days before the eligibility to file for unemployment, and I have 100% no doubt that Fred was behind it. To say an additional F you in particular. I've been looking for a job ever since. And that was about 6-7 months ago. May, I believe it was, when I was fired. Part of the reason why I don't want to work right now is because I do not want to risk the chance of having someone like Fred being my supervisor. I do not want to go through that hellhole again. I'm still apprehensive. I might want to go back to Walmart, but a different one, like Titusville, Clarion, Meadville, not Cranberry. I would refuse. I even sometimes refuse to go into that store if he's there, because I do not want him. I do not want to be near him, especially how he treated me. And a couple of the coworkers that still work there that I work with, we talk once in a while. And I was like, "Hey, does Brian still do?" No, not Brian. Fred. Does Fred still do blah 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 so forth? All this shenanigans, and they said, "Yes." And I told them what happened to me, and they're like, "That's awful. What? You did not have to go through that." And they even stood up for me before I got fired. And Fred didn't care. He just ignored them. It just makes me so angry. And I think it's also discrimination as well. Oh, I know for a fact it's discrimination for what he did to me. Not caring about my medical condition, my mental condition of autism. I think he used that specifically to target me. And that's a federal crime. So I don't know how he's not in jail. Especially with asking underage cashiers, when he's married, mind you, to go out for lunch with him. I don't know how he's not in prison. So that's the story of why I advise you not to work at Walmart. I don't want any of you guys to go through what I did. I understand that there's managers out there that's like Fred and are making your working lives a living hell. But I just don't want anybody like me who's autistic or anyone with disabilities to go through what I did. Like I said, the names I provided in this video are not their real names. I don't want any hate towards them or any future retaliation from Fred, specifically towards me, because of this. And for the sake of their anonymity, I decided to just not use their real names. I hope you enjoyed this video. Stay safe out there.